Awesome. Beginners class. We're going to start today off with a little sort of single-minded focus on something that's called scapular retraction. It's just basically putting a little more microscopic emphasis on one particular verbal cue just to see the effect that it has on our practice. So, of course, everything else will stay in place. We know Kegel's engaged, use your muscles. We know all the other verbal cueing, but today, just for fun, we're going to get a little bit microscopic, specifically on the shoulder blades. So here's what we're going to try. Stand and face me, please. This is my left arm, but this may be your right arm. And we're just going to place your hand on your hip. You can put your hand this way or put a little bit behind you. Now, what we want to try to do, always, shoulders down. But now, think about your shoulder blade, the scapula. And think if you can move the shoulder blade towards your spine, then your elbow, and then see if you can get your chest to stretch open. So we want to retract the shoulder blade first, then move the elbow, then see if we can stretch through the front of the chest. Take a couple of breaths, try to let that sink in. We are retracting the shoulder blade first, then moving the elbow, then the chest. And release that. Opposite side. Hand to your waist or hand behind your waist, whichever. Think about the scapula moving to the spine first. So that's your rhomboid muscles pulling your scapula to the spine. Then maybe your elbow starts to move toward your spine also. And then maybe you feel a stretch across the chest. So do your best to think in that order. Scapula first, then your elbow, and then see if you can open your chest. Just a couple more breaths here, constantly retracting that shoulder blade, and then release. Good. So hopefully what you're noticing is that there's a little more refinement in the retraction. What happens a lot of times is more of a gross sort of articulation where we just move our elbows back. Moving the elbows back will get us to scapular retraction, 100% for sure, but we're missing that really microscopic effort in just moving the shoulder blades first. So both hands to your waist, please. And now do your best, try to think shoulder blades to the spine first, then your elbows, then you start to feel a stretch across your chest. Keep breathing and keep working shoulder blades first, then elbows, and then across your chest. And gently release. Good. Now, if you don't have that mastered yet, and I don't expect you to, but just do your best as we're practicing today. When I'm calling out retraction, that's what we're shooting for. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. Let's get in a mountain pose, please. So first, always check and correct your feet first, please. The way you can spread out your hand, if you take your hand and spread it out really, really wide, try to spread your feet out really, really wide. Spread your toes out wide. Try to get as much surface area of your foot and toes on the yoga mat. Get your feet spread out wide. Put a little extra weight in your heels. And now start to tone your legs, please. Use the larger muscle groups of the legs, the glutes. Rotate your pelvis under. Hands to heart center in a prayer fashion. Concentrate on retracting your shoulder blades. It's not so much puffing your chest out, it's squeezing the shoulder blades to the spine. Hold there and breathe there. For 3, excuse me, 2, 1, and relax. Now, we're going to do mountain pose with the knuckle crackers. So the knuckle crackers, This is my right hand. It may be your left hand. Keep your left pinky at the bottom. And now you start to interlace your other fingers on top. So the opposite pinky goes on top than the other fingers. And we get into this configuration. If possible, turn your palms away like you're cracking your knuckles. Keep your arms straight. And to the best of your ability, bring your arms up overhead. Now, wherever you feel stuck is where you stay. You don't have to bring your arms all the way up. Just breathe. Honor where you're at. Try to retract the shoulder blades. Take a couple of breaths here. Keep all the other technique intact. Ribs down, leg muscles. Slowly come down to about halfway and slowly release. Shake out your hands if you need to, and we'll go to the other side. Now this time, it might be your right pinky. That's the lowest part of this configuration. And you start to interlace the other pinky on top and the other fingers interlace. Turn your palm away, arms as straight as you can, and bring your arms up overhead or not. The goal is to keep your arms straight. If your arms start to bend as you bring it overhead, as you bring the knuckle crackers overhead, lower your arms and find a position where you can keep your arms straight. Breathe. Try to retract your shoulder blades towards your spine and see what kind of an effect that has on your arms, your armpits, shoulders. One more inhale. And then exhale. Bring your hands down about halfway. Release and shake loose. Good. Now let's do some half sun salutations, please. I'm going to turn sideways, but you stay right where you're at, and let's go through it together. Check and correct your feet, please. Heels, legs, glutes, abs, hands to heart center. Breathing in and out through your nose. Inhale. As you exhale, extend your arms straight. Turn your thumbs down, that's internal rotation. Inhale, open wide. Here, scapular retraction, right here. Pull your shoulder blades towards your spine. Try to keep your shoulder blades towards your spine as you bring your arms up overhead. Breathe. Breathe. And you're just working that small muscle group that pulls your shoulder blades to the spine. It's called retraction. Hang in there and breathe for 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Hands come through heart center in a prayer fashion. Touch the front of your thighs. Bend your knees slightly. Rearward shift. Once your hands find your kneecaps, pause. Arms straight. Retract your shoulder blades. Steady breathing. Remember, the retraction takes place here. It takes place in your upper back. It doesn't take place in your arms. One more inhale, please. Exhale. Tone your legs, tone your hips. Hands to heart center. Retract your shoulder blades. Inhale. Exhale, extend your arms. Internally rotate, turn your thumbs down. Inhale, retract. Exhale, turn your palms up, keep retracting, arms up overhead. Hold and breathe. Keep the actions of the other pieces of the puzzle, right? So you're still reaching your fingertips up. You're still pushing your heels into the ground. And you're trying to stay toned with every muscle in between. But you're concentrating a little more on retracting your shoulder blades to the spine. One more inhale. Exhale, hands through heart center. Touch the front of your thighs, bend your knees, rearward shift. Steady breathing. Trying to feel it in your hamstrings, of course. Try to feel it in your buttocks. Keep extending your spine. Hang in there for 3, 2, 1. Tone your legs. Tone your hips. Hands to heart center. Get tall. Last round. Inhale. Exhale. Extend your arms. Internally rotate. Retract your shoulder blades. Shoulder blades first, then elbows, then chest. Turn your palms toward the ceiling and bring your arms up overhead for extended arms in mountain pose. Hold here and breathe here for 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Hands come through heart center in a prayer fashion. Touch the front of your thighs, bend your knees, rearward shift. For 3, 2, 1. Tone your legs, tone your glutes, stand up straight. Hands to heart center. Think about your feet, heels, legs, glutes, abs, shoulder blades retracting, skull lifting. Inhale. Exhale and drop your hands. Good. Now turn and face me, please. Or get into a position, something like this. Let's take our feet wide for triangle pose. Take your feet as wide as you feel comfortable. Excuse me. Remember, we can shimmy and shuffle around as we go. You are not a statue. You are a living organism, so you're not stuck in one particular position. Shimmy and shuffle around till you find that sweet spot. Now, legs straight, feet pointing forward, and we'll begin with our hands on our waist. Triangle pose. This is my left leg. It may be your right leg, but let's internally rotate that leg about 30 degrees. Opposite leg goes 90 degrees. Take a second to make sure you're upright. Let your front hand touch your front thigh. Leave your rear hand on your rear hip. Inhale. As you exhale, hinge sideways as far as you can comfortably. Now, once you get stuck, wherever you're stuck, just hang out there and breathe. Let's try focusing on this top shoulder. Keep your legs toned, keep your seat toned. Now retract your upper shoulder blade. Shoulder blade first, then elbow, then chest. When you feel that shoulder blade kind of sink in and slip into place, straighten your top arm, but keep breathing. Keep retracting that shoulder blade. See if that helps turn your rib cage a little bit more toward the ceiling. If you look up towards your top hand, you should be able to see your thumbnail. Don't let your arm fall behind you. Keep it kind of glued to the rib cage and close to the spine. Now brace yourself. Come up to the shape of a T and drop your arms. Good. Let's switch sides. Rear leg turns in about 30 degrees. Front leg turns out about 90 degrees. Both hands to your waist, please. Make sure that you're straight up and down, square, toned, ready to go. Front hand touches your front thigh. Rear hand stays on your rear hip. Inhale. As you exhale, we're trying to drive the rear hips backward. And we're trying to hinge from the ball and socket joint of the front leg, right where the ball and socket meets your pelvis. When you feel stuck, stop, hold and breathe. Retract the shoulder blade of that top arm. Shoulder blade first, then maybe the elbow, then maybe the chest opens. Keep all that stuff glued together. Straighten your top arm. Breathe here. Keep that action of shoulder blade towards the spine. If you look up towards your top hand, you should be able to see your hand clearly. It shouldn't be behind you. Hang in there for 3, 2, brace yourself. 1, come up to the shape of a T, and drop your arms, please. Good. Let's toe heel our feet together, or bring your feet together any way you like. Reset with mountain pose, please. Get tall. Inhale. Exhale, drop your hands. Good. Warrior 2. Again, we take our feet kind of wide. Technically for Warrior 2, they should be a little wider than triangle, but always work within your ability and always work within your comfort zone. Now this is my left leg, might be your right leg. Keep that foot pointing straight ahead, 0 degrees. The opposite leg is going to turn out 90 degrees. Hands to your waist, please. Inhale. As you exhale, bend your front leg as little or as much as you like. Now you see I'm shuffling around, I'm shimmying around, I'm trying to find what's working for me today, and here it is. Now, hands at the waist and retract both shoulder blades. Both shoulder blades are moving toward the spine. Keep your shoulders down, shoulder blades to the spine. Elbows pull back a little bit. You should start to feel a stretch across your chest. When your shoulder blades feel close to the spine, extend your arms and breathe. Keep working that scapular retraction. Shoulder blades first, then elbows, then chest. Breathe for 3, 2, 1. Straighten your front leg, please. Drop your arms. Good. Let's try the other side. 0 degrees on your rear leg, 90 degrees on your front leg, hands to your waist. Inhale. As you exhale, bend your front leg as little or as much as you like. We're just trying to stack that front knee more or less on top of that front ankle bone. While your hands are in your waist, work on the retraction. Shoulder blades first, elbows, then maybe you feel the stretch across your chest. Extend your arms. Breathe. Make sure it's originating from your shoulder blades first. It's the muscles contracting between your shoulder blades versus the leverage of your arms. Let the shoulder blades move first, then your elbow, and then see if you can feel a stretch through your chest. Hang in there, please, for 3, 2, 1. Straighten your front leg, please. Drop your arms. Good. Let's toe heel our feet together. Mountain pose, please. Find your heels, legs, glutes, abs. Retract your shoulders, get tall. Inhale. Exhale, drop your hands. Good. Side angle pose. Take our feet wide, just like Warrior 2. 0 degrees on your right leg, 90 degrees on your left leg. Hands to your waist. Inhale. Exhale. Bend your front leg as much as you like. Inhale. Exhale. Extend your front arm. We're going to keep the rear hand on the waist. Reach out over your front leg. When you feel stuck, karate chop your front arm down. Your opposite hand is still on your hip. Retract the shoulder blade. Leverage the elbow. Then extend your arm. Breathe. You're trying to sink the shoulder blade kind of like into the spine and into the rib cage. If you look up towards the top hand, you should be able to see your top hand clearly. It shouldn't be behind you. Hang in there for 3. Keep retracting. 2, 1. Warrior 2. Retract both shoulder blades. Straighten your leg. Drop your arms. Good. Let's turn to the other side. 0 degrees on your rear leg. 90 degrees on your front leg. Hands to your waist, please. Inhale. Exhale, bend your front leg, please. When you feel ready, extend your front arm. Rear hand stays on the rear waist. Inhale. Exhale, reach out and over your front leg. When you feel stuck, just karate chop that top arm down. I beg your pardon, the front arm down. Top arm, think with your shoulder blade first, then your elbow. When everything feels kind of glued in place, extend your top arm. Try to use that retraction to help rotate the rib cage a little bit. Breathe. If you look up, you should be able to see your hand clearly. Hang in there for 3. Keep retracting. 2, 1. Warrior 2. Retract both shoulder blades. From your shoulder blades, not from your elbows. Straighten your front leg. Drop your arms. Good work. Let's toe heel our feet together. Mountain pose, please. Inhale. Exhale, drop your hands. Good. Let's try an oldie but a goodie. In yoga, it's called Parsvottanasana. In non-yoga terms, it would be called a pyramid pose. Now, let me demonstrate it first. That'll give you a chance to catch your breath, sip some water, and make sure it's something that you're comfortable doing. If you don't feel comfortable doing this pose, repeat triangle. But I'm going to take us through Parsvottanasana. Now, probably the easiest way to get into it is face either short end of your mat. In this case, I'm going to keep my left foot glued to the ground. Maybe it's your right foot. And come into, it's not really a high runner's lunge, but maybe it's a scissor stance. I may have just invented a new term. So we have a scissor stance here. Put your hands like this, then place the tops of your hands right on your back pockets. Your back pockets should feel pretty square. Sometimes the leg that steps back will bring the hips with it. So do your best, internally rotate that rear leg a little bit, and turn your hips forward. Now, when you feel square, place your hands on the front thigh. Inhale, and then we'll hinge forward. Let me demonstrate it for you. We're going to affect the hamstring of the front leg. Don't worry about going too far. You just concentrate and make sure that you're getting a good, nice stretch on your hamstring. Try to keep your chest lifting. Come on up, and then step forward or come out of it any way you can. Okay, this might be new for you, so be gentle with yourself. Don't worry too much about how you come into and out of the pose. Just do it as safely as possible. Now, if that looks doable to you, let's go through it together. If you're not sure, just repeat triangle pose. Okay. So facing one way or the other, if you're mirroring me, let's keep the left leg, the left foot glued to the mat. And the right leg is going to step back in a scissors, right? So it's not a tight rope, just about hip width apart with your feet. Front leg stays toned, rear leg stays toned. Check and correct your hips. So you may have to internally rotate your rear leg And you may have to turn your hips a little bit to the front. When you feel square, extend your spine, hands to your thigh. Exhale, hinge from your hip. Keep both legs toned. Keep your spine extended. When you feel stuck, stop. Breathe. Deep breaths. Deep, deep, deep breathing. Hang in there, please, for 3, 2, 1. Now tighten up. Use your leg strength and stand up. Good. Maybe swing your arms back, step forward. Maybe not. Just do your best to come in and out of it as safely as possible. Now we'll try the other side. Stare at the opposite foot. Bring the opposite leg back to a scissors position. Check your hips. Make sure they're more or less square. They're not going to be perfectly square, but we're trying not to be, completely misaligned if we can help it. When you feel more or less square, tone your legs, bring your hands to the front thigh. Inhale. Exhale, keep your spine extended, hinge from the hip. Breathe. Try to keep your chest lifted. We're trying to put just a nice stretch or a nice tension in the hamstrings. Just enough so that we know the hamstrings are there. Hang in there for 3, 2, 1. Use your leg strength. Stand up. And maybe step your feet forward. Or however you can do it, just nice and easy. Good. Come back to the center of the mat, please. Mountain pose, please. Inhale. Exhale. Excellent work. Let's try one balance pose. Let's try squatting without squatting. So bring your feet together nice and tight. If you need to go grab onto a wall somewhere, go ahead and do that if you need to. But if you don't need to, try not to. With your feet together, arms loose, shift the weight into your right leg. If you're facing me, shift your weight into your right leg. Bend your left knee, bend your left hip, and bring your left knee as high as possible. Hold and breathe. So on the bent leg, it affects the hamstrings differently. The previous pose, we stretched the hamstring. In this pose, we're trying to tone the hamstring. So bend your knee as much as possible. Hold and breathe. For 3, 2, 1. Both feet down, both hands down. Let's try the other side. Feet together. Let your arms hang loose. Shift the weight into your left leg if you're facing me. Bend the opposite knee. Bend the opposite hip. Breathe. Do your best to be as upright as possible. Do your best to keep your arms loose. As you saw on the other side with me, I had to kind of tightrope it a little bit. And that's fine. Just do your best. Stay calm, cool, collected. Hang in there for 3, 2, 1. Both feet down, both hands down. Mountain pose one more time, please. Hands to heart center. Get tall. Inhale. Exhale. Drop your hands. Good. Let's come down to the ground and we'll work a little bit on our abs. Now for the abs, we're going to try to do what's called a leg lower. I'll demonstrate it first, kind of talk us through it, and then we'll try it together. And I'll show you a couple ways to make it easier or less easy. Some people like things that are less easy. So let me demonstrate it for you first, please. First, we're going to lie flat on our backs. Knees to chest. Get yourself set up like we normally would. Now, here's a couple of things to try. Some folks, when they do this type of an exercise, they put their hands like this. They slip it under their hips this way. So they wind up like this. It just helps bring the ground closer to the hips. It may make the pose a little more accessible. You don't have to, but you can try this. Legs to 90 degrees, or as best as you can. And then you find a spot, start to lower your legs. And you find a spot at which you can maintain lowering your legs and holding without disturbing the relationship of your hips and the ground. So if this represents the ground, this represents your hips. Your hips should not come up. Even though the legs lower, your hips should stay absolutely glued to the ground. And that's how far you need to go in order to lower your legs. So let's try one together, and then I'll show you how to make it easier or more difficult. So with your hands under your hips or not, it's up to you. Arms by your side, bring your knees to your chest. And then extend your legs toward the ceiling. Now, right here, even before you move, use your abs muscles. Use everything you can to glue your low back and your back hip, this whole bony structure. Keep it glued to the mat. Now, slowly start to lower your legs. It doesn't matter if you move an inch. It doesn't matter if your feet are just barely hovering off the ground. What matters is that you stay glued here, right between your sacrum and the uppermost hip bone. It's got to stay glued to the ground. Don't go into an anterior pelvic tilt. You're keeping posterior pelvic tilt. Now hold there for 3, 2, 1. Back to 90 if you can. Knees to chest. Hold on to your knees. Good. I suppose the simple way to say that is maintain a posterior pelvic tilt. So as your legs are lowering, you're trying to keep a posterior pelvic tilt the whole time. Now, a way to make that easier, if it's possible, you extend your arms overhead this way. So this will sort of counterbalance. It gives you a longer base in which to counter the feet lowering to the ground. So if you like, bring your arms up overhead. Straighten the legs. Now pressing down pretty much with everything. Hands, spine, posterior pelvic tilt. Lower your legs as far as you like, as long as you can keep a posterior pelvic tilt. And breathe. If it's too much, just lift your feet. If it's too little, lower your feet, as long as you keep a posterior pelvic tilt. Hang in there and breathe. Reach through your feet. Reach through your heels. Back to 90 if you can. Bend your knees. Hold on to your kneecaps. Now, if this makes it easier, you know what makes it tougher is bringing your hands down here. The very, very first version we did was actually the most challenging. It's the most challenging as far as leverage goes. If you have bad shoulders, this is going to be challenging. So whenever you're ready, we're going to try one more time. Put your arms wherever you like them, either overhead or by your side. Extend your legs. Posterior pelvic tilt. Lower your legs. Only go so far as you're able to keep the entire bony structure, your sacrum and your PSIS. All that should be glued to the ground. Don't worry about how far down your legs go. Concentrate on how your pelvis is responding. Hang in there for 3, 2, 2.5, 1. Come back to 90 degrees. Bend your knees and hold on to your kneecaps. Breathe here. Steady breathing. You can put your hands under if you like. Let your nervous system cool off a little bit. Then we'll go into the next pose. Let one foot touch the ground. Let the other foot touch the ground. The next pose, really what it is a supine variation of mountain pose. So imagine if you were standing in mountain pose and someone picked you up and gently placed you on your back. That's what we're going to try to do. So one at a time, extend one leg flat on the ground, extend the other leg flat on the ground. Feet about hip width apart. Energizing through your feet, so push through your heels. Try to spread your feet apart wide. Feel all the leg muscles tone. Can you tuck your pelvis under? How much of your spine can you press into the mat? If you like, hands to heart center with your scapula retracted, but keep working your heels away from your torso. Keep working your shoulder blades toward the spine. And then if you like, extended arms mountain pose. Maybe, maybe not. Reach your fingertips away from your torso. Reach your heels away from your torso. Try to keep as much of your spine on the mat as possible. It's posterior pelvic tilt. Really using your abs, believe it or not, using your abs a lot to try to push your spine into the mat. Hang in there with me and breathe for 3. Keep your scapular retraction. 2, 1. Gently release. Bring both knees to your chest, please. Let your nervous system cool off a little bit. Now from here, we're going to hold on. In this case, this is my right knee. If you are mirroring me, this might be your left knee. We're going to hold on to the left knee, both hands. Let the opposite foot touch the ground and the opposite leg extend. So in a way, this is kind of like squatting without squatting, or maybe a Captain Morgan's pose, but again, we're on our back. So reach through the leg that's on the ground, reach through the heels, tone up that leg. The knee that's on your chest, more or less, try to keep it relaxed a little bit. You're using your arms to help bend your knee and help bend your hip. To keep the opposite leg absolutely 100% active. Hang in there, please, for 3, 2, 1. Both knees to your chest. Catch a breath or 2. Now hold on to the opposite knee. Let the other foot touch the ground, and then let the other leg extend to the ground. The leg that's on the ground, energize it. Try to move that leg as far away from your torso as possible. The other leg, the bent leg, is as relaxed as possible, and you're bringing it as close to your torso as possible. Breathe. So we have opposite actions. We have an active extension on one leg and passive flexion on the other. Work those opposite ends of the spectrum for 3, 2, 1. Both knees to your chest, please. You can do a hand sandwich if you like, but just catch a breath or two. And now we'll gently roll over to one side. Doesn't matter which. Use your hands as pillows. Now I know this is how we come out of our practice, but we've still got a couple more poses left. We're just keeping the nervous system calm before we come to a seated position. Just a couple of breaths here. And now with the use of your hands and your feet and your legs, come on up to a seated position. Good. So from the seated position, it doesn't matter if you're cross-legged. Doesn't matter if you're straight-legged. You can even be sitting in a chair if you want to. But the goal is to be tall. So you're trying to keep your hips level, grounded, and then lift your chest as much as possible. Now, just like we did in the beginning of class, we're going to try to do the knuckle crackers from a seated position. So again, we'll take, in this case, this is my right hand. It might be your left hand. Your left pinky is going to be the lowest point of this configuration. Bring the opposite pinky, put it on top, and then interlace all your fingers. Palms face you, arms straight, please. Now, if you can, palms turn away, arms straight. Keeping your arms straight, bring your hands up as high as comfort allows. Don't worry if you only go halfway or if you only go an inch. Don't worry about any of that. Concentrate on keeping your arms straight and concentrate on trying to work your scapula towards your spine. Hang in there, please, and breathe for 3, 2, 1. Slowly come on down, about halfway, release, and shake out your hands. If you can, switch your shins. If you cannot, don't worry. And if it doesn't apply to you, don't worry. We're just going to go the opposite side. So now this hand. So this might be your right hand. Your pinky is the right pinky is the lowest part. Left pinky comes on top, and then you continue interlacing that way. Arms straight, palms face you. Turn the palms away like a knuckle cracker, but arms straight. If you can, slowly, steadily bring your arms up overhead. Only go as high as your comfort allows. Your ego is not your amigo. So if you're thinking to yourself, I should, I would, I could, forget it. You have to be where you are right now. And if you're not quite with your arms overhead, that's fine. What matters is keeping your arms straight. Hang in there, please, for 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring your arms down. Gently release and shake your arms out a little. Good. Awesome. Now I'm going to turn sideways. You may or may not turn sideways. You may not need to. And let's lie flat on our backs, please. Knees to your chest, and just kind of double check that your hips are square, spine is square, shoulders square. Let one foot touch the ground, then the other foot touch the ground. Hands by your side, and let's do a few bridges or a few peels. P-E-E-L-S. Keep your feet relaxed, please. On the inside, do your Kegel contraction. On the outside, do a posterior pelvic tilt. Keep breathing, and let's slowly start to peel up. Peel up from your tailbone first. Keep breathing shallowly. Tailbone, hip bones, few back bones. Trying to keep your ribs kind of low, keep your tummy kind of low, but you should have clearance. You should be able to pass your hands under your seat, at least. Breathe. Keep your feet relaxed, please. Keep your shins vertical. And breathe. Now hang in there with me for 3, 2, 1. Slowly peel down. Slowly, please. Slowly, slowly, slowly peel down. And once you're safely on the earth, relax. Second peel. Double check and correct your feet, please. Double check and correct your knees. Kegels on the inside. Posterior pelvic tilt on the outside. Keep breathing shallowly. And let's go. Peel your tailbone first. Then your hip bone. And then you might feel L5 push into the ground, L4, L3, L2, L1. They kind of peel off the ground until you're as high as you can go. Don't worry about how high you go. Concentrate on the technique. So you're constantly just making sure your pelvis is tilting posteriorly. You're trying to shorten the line between your pubic symphysis and your sternum. You're trying to shorten this line. Hang in there, please, for 3, 2, 1. And now you try to lengthen this line. Make the line as long as you can from your sternum down to your pubic symphysis. And once you feel safe on the earth, pause, and we'll try one more version. If your knees can tolerate it, bring your heels as close to your seat as possible. If your knees cannot tolerate it, don't worry. Just keep your feet wherever they're comfortable. We got to protect your knees. If your feet are close to your buttocks, we're going to try, we'll add a little nuance to this bridge. If not, don't worry. Just for people we did a second ago. Now, if your feet are closer to your seat, everything's the same. Kegels first, posterior pelvic tilt, and peel up. So right now, this is the same for everyone. Peeling up through, want to feel your glutes lift off, and then slowly but surely, you get as high as you possibly can. Now, if your feet were really close to your glutes, once you've gotten as high as you can into the bridge, imagine pushing your knees away from you. So you're dorsiflexing your ankle and you're flexing your knees just a little more. You might feel yourself kind of drag towards your feet, and that's okay. Keep pushing your knees away from you. Keep curling up and keep pushing your knees away. So that's hip extension, knee flexion, dorsiflexion of the ankles. And you might feel yourself get kind of dragged towards your feet. Hang in there for 3. Keep working the posterior pelvic tilt. 2, 1, and slowly return to earth. Good work. Bring your knees to your chest, please. Steady breathing, please. Now, to help us cool off a little bit, to help us unwind, we're going to try resting Yin Pose. So one at a time, let one foot touch the ground, let the other foot touch the ground. If it's possible, toe heel your feet away from each other, just about mat width apart. So this foot is on this side of the mat, that foot is on that side of the mat. If you can, let your knees fall towards each other. You're trying to just lie still. And when the knees fall towards each other, they're kind of holding each other up. See if you can completely relax through your hips, front and back, through your thighs, through your legs, top and bottom. Hopefully you feel your low back kind of spread out a little bit. And just take advantage here and breathe deeply here. In and out through your nose. In and out through your tummy. And just see if you can get out of your own way. Just get out of your way. Try not to hold your legs up. Let the gravity, let the friction of each knee hold your thighs in place. Now we're going to hold here just for about another minute and 30 seconds. And the whole time, it sounds strange, but you're just trying to do nothing. Don't grip with your feet. Don't grip with your muscles. Just try to get out of the way and let gravity do its thing and let friction do its thing. The friction between your knees should more or less hold your knees up. The friction of your feet on the ground should be enough to keep everything immovable and solid. Use your breath to clear out any residual tension or any residual effort. Just about 25 more seconds. Just about 10 seconds. Now slowly, here's where you can use your muscles. Bring your knees apart, toe heel your feet together. Bring your knees to your chest and hold on. Now I'm going to roll up onto my side and come up to a seated position to demonstrate something for you. You may be able just to turn your head and watch, but I'm going to offer something for you for final meditation. Now I'm lucky. I'm close to a couch. If you're close to a couch, shimmy so that you're a little bit closer to your couch. If you're close to a chair, grab a chair. If you're not close to anything, don't worry. Stay where you are and just either stay in resting Yin Pose or go into final relaxation. If you can, try to scoot yourself up close to your couch or to your chair. We're going to get as much of our calf onto the cushion of the couch, bend the knees as much as possible, and lie as flat on the ground as possible. Something like this. I can even scooch myself a little closer. Just something like this. Something where the effort is taken out of your lower body by a chair or a couch. Take a second to make sure your hips are as flat on the ground as possible. So I'm going to use my muscles just a little bit to lift up a little bit, and I'm going to use my hands to tilt my pelvis just a little more. Posterior pelvic tilt to get as much on the ground as possible. Interlace your fingers, make a little hammock for the back of your head. Gently lift your head up just a little bit and place it back down on the earth, just so you are as flat on the ground as possible. Arms by your side, please, palms face up. Let your legs relax. Close your eyes, please. Now for the next minute or so, don't do anything. Again, just letting the chair do the work for you, letting the floor do the work for you. If you're in resting yin, letting gravity and friction do the work for you. And be still, please, for the next minute, and I'll bring us out of meditation. Keep your eyes closed as you start to come back. Wake up your toes. Wake up your fingers. If it's possible, roll your ankles, roll your wrists. Just move your fingers, toes, feet, and hands. Just move them around a little bit. Start to come back slowly. Put a little smile on your face and bring your knees to your chest. And as slowly as possible, let's roll over to one side or the other and make a little pillow with your hands. And just calm down. Be gentle. Breathe. Now, as slowly as possible, as gently as possible, come on up to a seated position. I'm going to shuffle over to the center of my mat. You don't have to move. You can stay right where you are. Come to a seated position, please. Hands to heart center. Thank you for joining me for Beginner's Yoga. I hope you will go forth and be awesome. Namaste.